The methodical and systematic slaughter of women by Michael Gargiulo, the boy next door killer.
This is one of the nation's most notorious crimes, and now Ashton Kutcher is one of more than 100 witnesses set to testify in the now infamous murder trial.
Famous Ashton Kutcher could be facing a murder sentence, causing a disruption in Hollywood that will leave ascar forever.
Ashton Kutcher taking the stand, testifying against a man accused of being a Hollywood serial killer.
Hearts are shattering in disbelief, as this could be a final goodbye to the movie star. 20 years after the beautiful Ashley Ellerin was brutally murdered in her home, we thought justice had been served when serial killer Michael Gargiulo was sentenced to death for her murder. But recently, shocking new evidence has emerged, pointing to Ashton Kutcher as the real murderer. How true is Ashton? Could justice have been served to the wrong person? Join us as we explore this terrifying mystery and reveal what's really true. An unexpected crime. On the 21st of February, 2001, a dark shadow fell over California as the news of young and beautiful Ashley Ellerin's murder spread across the media. Ashley, a 22-year-old fashion design student, had her bright future stolen in a brutal act of violence. The pain and heartbreak of her loss were unbearable, leaving friends and family devastated. Ashley had just stepped out of the shower when she was viciously attacked. She was stabbed 47 times in a merciless assault, a level of brutality that shocked even seasoned investigators. The sheer savagery of the crime left everyone wondering, what could have provoked such unimaginable rage? Amid the tears and unanswered questions, the most critical one remained. Who did this? Described by those who knew her as the life of the party, Ashley was a vibrant and outgoing young woman. Her warm personality earned her many friends, and her loved ones couldn't fathom why anyone would want to harm her. Adding to the mystery, there were no signs of forced entry into her apartment. Who could have committed such a horrifying act, and how had they managed to gain access? For years, the case remained a haunting mystery, but in 2008, a shocking development in an unrelated case would finally shed light on Ashley's murder. On July 6th of that year, a man named Michael Gargiulo was arrested for the attempted murder of his next-door neighbor. She had narrowly survived by fighting him off, and investigators soon uncovered a disturbing pattern. Gargiulo had previously lived near two other women who had been killed in similarly gruesome ways.
A notorious serial killer already convicted in California, appearing in a Cook County courtroom today.
Michael Gargiulo extradited to face charges for a brutal 1993 murder in Glenview.
As authorities delved deeper into his background, they discovered a chilling connection to Ashley. Witnesses revealed that Gargiulo had interacted with Ashley in the period leading up to her death. He had reportedly been trying to pursue her romantically, but Ashley wasn't interested. This revelation changed everything. With mounting evidence, Gargiulo was charged with Ashley's murder. In 2021, after years of legal battles, he was convicted and sentenced to death. Many believed that justice had finally been served, and Ashley's loved ones could begin to find some closure. But just when the case seemed settled, new evidence emerged that has raised more questions than answers. This time, attention has shifted to an unexpected person, Ashton Kutcher. Yes, the beloved Hollywood star and heartthrob is now at the center of speculation surrounding Ashley Ellerin's murder. But how does he fit into this tragic story? To understand his connection, we need to rewind the clock to the year 2000. Ashley and Ashton first met at a friend's birthday party in Los Angeles. At the time, Ashton was in a relationship, so he introduced Ashley to one of his friends instead. When those relationships ended, Ashley and Ashton decided to explore a connection themselves. Tragically, Ashley's life was cut short before their budding relationship could go anywhere. On the night of her murder, Ashton was supposed to pick her up for a date, but the events of the night following this plan is one that have been shrouded in great mystery. To make matters worse, new evidence has prompted investigators to revisit Ashton Kutcher's role in Ashley's life and her death. Fame and crime rarely mix well, but this could be Ashton Kutcher's reality as the shocking details of Ashley Ellerin's murder resurface. Was his involvement more significant than anyone initially thought? At this point, it's important to remember how complex high-profile cases like this can become. When someone as prominent as Ashton Kutcher is involved, it's easy for the lines between fact and speculation to blur. Yet the focus remains on finding out the full truth of what happened to Ashley Ellerin and whether there's more to Ashton's connection to her than previously believed. As investigators revisit old evidence and follow new leads, the case that once seemed resolved is now unraveling in ways no one could have anticipated. Could there be more players involved in Ashley's murder? Or is this a case of misplaced suspicion aimed at a public figure? You're about to be shocked to your bones by the details. An inquiry into the truth. On the night of her gruesome murder, Ashley Ellerin had been preparing for a date. Intriguingly, this wasn't something to ignore, as it points to none other than the award-winning actor Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher acquired legions of loyal fans with his portrayal of the dim-witted Kelso in the popular television series.
It was an established fact that the time of Ashley's murder coincided with her involvement in a newly blossoming relationship with the famous actor, so it wasn't strange that the pair were communicating on the day of her murder. But the matter is far from being that simple. On the night of Ashley's murder, she and Ashton had agreed that Ashton would come to pick her up for their date. Even more intriguing, Ashton has been reported as the last person Ashley spoke to over the phone before her death. There was no denying that the pair were fated to meet and be together on the night of the murder. But instead of meeting for a lovely romantic night out, what lay ahead was a tragedy that no one could have predicted. Ashley was brutally murdered in her home that same night, with no one around to help her. This left her to be in a bad position within the mystery of her death. It became a clear fact that Ashton was entangled in the narrative of Ashley's murder. But the question of what went down on the night of their planned date remains a mystery. A lingering discomfort couldn't be denied. Ashton had been at the crime scene on that fateful night, and this left a mixed and unpleasant feeling in everyone who heard the story. Speaking to the press about the situation, Ashton himself admitted to his role in the whole scenario. According to him, he was freaking out because he knew his fingerprints would be found on the doorknob of Ashley's house from that night. What really happened between Ashton and Ashley on the night of the murder? Did Ashton's presence at the crime scene mean he had something to do with her death? These questions haunted those following the case, and the mystery only grew as details unfolded. Amid the rising tensions surrounding Ashley's murder, Ashton eventually broke his silence. He confirmed that he had called Ashley shortly before her murder at 8:24 p.m. That phone call was meant to inform her that he would be late for their date. According to him, Ashley had been completely fine with it, mentioning that she had just taken a shower and still needed to dry her hair. Ashton explained that he arrived in front of Ashley's home at 10:45 p.m. He found the lights on, but the door was locked. He knocked, but no one answered, which made him think that Ashley had left with her friends after getting tired of waiting. Before leaving, however, Ashton said he had taken a peek through the window. He claimed to have seen what looked like red wine spilled on the carpet, but didn't think too much of it. He left, assuming everything was fine. Ashley's body, however, was discovered by her roommate the next morning, hours after her gruesome murder. Ashton's account left many uneasy. While his willingness to cooperate with the police helped him avoid being labeled as a suspect, it didn't stop people from questioning the role he might have played. At the time, no evidence pointed to Ashton as the murderer, but the awkward circumstances surrounding his testimony couldn't be ignored. Naturally, doubts arose. One glaring issue was Ashton's claim that he mistook blood for red wine. For many, this detail felt off. How could someone with years of life experience confuse such a crucial detail? Was it simply a careless oversight? Or was there more to the story? Even if Ashton's account was genuine, his lack of attentiveness to the scene and his decision to leave without further inquiry left lingering questions. Could his actions have delayed the discovery of Ashley's murder? As this question lingers, more shocking recent revelations have arisen to make things worse. Ashton's murder accusations. In a shocking turn of events, Ashton Kutcher is now battling accusations of being involved in the murder of Ashley Ellerin. These claims have surfaced thanks to new evidence that has recently emerged, and the root of these allegations is nothing short of mind-boggling. The person spearheading these accusations is none other than Michael Gargiulo's attorney, Daniel Nardoni. Nardoni has brought attention to a detail that many believe was overlooked for years, and his case is backed by a testimony that has sent chills down everyone's spine. Ellerin's former apartment manager, an aspiring actor, has come forward with claims that have stunned the public. According to his testimony, he had been in an intimate relationship with Ellerin while she was alive. Even more shocking, he revealed that on the night of her murder, he was present in her apartment when she spoke to Ashton Kutcher over the phone. The apartment manager claims that the conversation between Ellerin and Kutcher was far from friendly. He suggested there was an argument between the two, one that hinted at serious tension. If this testimony holds any truth, it could completely contradict Ashton's account of that night. The implications are unsettling, as it raises questions about whether Ashton's version of events was a lie. But the apartment manager isn't the only one adding to the mounting suspicions. A neighbor also came forward with a chilling detail. The neighbor claims to have heard Ashley screaming not once but twice at around 8:30 p.m. on the night she was killed. This timeline is crucial, as it was just minutes after Ashton reportedly started his phone call with Ashley. If the screams were truly from her interaction with Ashton, it could suggest that their conversation wasn't as innocent as he had portrayed. Naturally, these new revelations have sparked countless questions. Could the screams have been a result of a heated argument between Ashley and Ashton? Was there more to their relationship than what the public knew? And if so, how does this fit into the larger narrative of the case? While these details are undeniably intriguing, they remain speculative. There is no concrete evidence linking Ashton to any wrongdoing, and his testimony remains consistent with the official timeline provided to investigators. Still, the significance of these claims cannot be ignored. They have reignited discussions about the case, forcing everyone to re-examine what they thought they knew about that fateful night. But you need to know that the testimony of the apartment manager and the neighbor, while unsettling, is not definitive proof of Ashton's involvement. The truth about what happened between Ashton and Ashley that night remains shrouded in mystery. It's a story filled with unanswered questions, and as much as these new revelations might seem compelling, they leave us with more speculation than clarity. For now, the resurfaced accusations and fresh testimonies have cast a new light on a case that has haunted many for years. But whether these details bring us closer to the truth or push it further away is something only time will tell. Until then, the mystery of Ashley Ellerin's tragic death continues to linger.
Instead of helping, we're taking photographs of her dying on the back seat, and then those photographs made their way back to news desks in this country.
Princess Diana, the people's princess, stepped into the royal spotlight with her marriage to Prince Charles.
Ostensibly no, but given the fact that the Princess of Wales believes that Prince Charles's friendship with another woman, Camilla Parker Bowles, has cast a long shadow over that marriage, must be considered when you look at the failure of this 11-year union.
Despite her doubts about the hasty proposal, she saw it as a way to escape her troubled family. But the royal life was anything but a fairy tale. Her marriage to Charles brought to light many secrets, and she faced unkind treatment from the royal family. Distraught by infidelity and cruelty, Diana sought revenge, only to tragically die in a car crash in 1997. Now, decades later, her son is revealing secrets about Charles. Why is he breaking his silence? Princess Diana's marriage to the royal family and the controversies that trailed her life after brought her to the limelight. But she had quite an eventful life, even before then. Let's delve into when and how it all started. Diana was born on the 1st of July, 1961, to Edward John Spencer, the Viscount Althorp, and Frances Ruth Burke Roche, who later became known as the Honorable Frances Shand Kidd. She was born as Diana Frances Spencer, and later became Lady Diana Spencer in 1975.
Above all, we give thanks for the life of a woman I'm so proud to be able to call my sister. The unique, the complex, the extraordinary and irreplaceable Diana, whose beauty, both internal and external, will never be extinguished from our minds.
After her father inherited the Earl Spencer title, her connection to the royal family is evident in her place of birth. Princess Diana was born at Park House, a home that her parents rented on Queen Elizabeth II's estate in Sandringham, England.
The former home of Elizabeth's head gardener on her Sandringham estate can be rented for about $400 a night next February for a minimum of 3 nights.
The royal family frequently holidayed at the neighboring Sandringham House.
London. Queen Mary left Marlborough House for Sandringham, where the royal Christmas was to be spent as a family party.
And Diana played with Princes Andrew and Edward. With such a noble background, how did Diana's early life lead to her eventual fate and controversial life? Get ready for the most epic moment of the video. Diana was the youngest daughter of her parents, and she had 2 older sisters, Jane Fellows and Sarah McCorquodale, and a younger brother, Charles Spencer, 9th Earl Spencer. She had another brother, John, but he died in infancy a year before Diana was born.
From her mother's devastating loss of a baby boy,
she was never allowed to hold her first son.
Both of her grandmothers, Cynthia Spencer and Ruth Roche, were ladies-in-waiting to Queen Mother Elizabeth. After losing John, her parents were hoping for another boy to carry on the family line, and so they didn't choose a name for a week after her birth until they settled on Diana Frances after her mother and Lady Diana Spencer, a great-aunt who was also a prospective Princess of Wales as a potential bride for Frederick, Prince of Wales. Diana was also nicknamed Dooch within the family because of her duchess-like attitude in childhood. On August 30th, 1961, Diana was baptized at St. Mary Magdalene Church, Sandringham. Despite her birth as the 3rd child and 4th born of the family, her parents still wanted a male to be their heir, and this really put a strain on their marriage, especially after Lady Althorp was sent to Harley Street clinics in London to determine the cause of her inability to produce a male heir. Her younger brother Charles would later describe this sole event as humiliating and a dreadful time for his parents. It was in fact probable that this was the root cause of their divorce.
Paul Workman now on the world's most famous couple, heading for the world's most famous divorce.
Diana was 7 years old when her parents divorced, and her mother went on to marry Peter Shand Kidd in 1969. Diana still lived with her mother in London immediately after her parents' separation in 1967. But after going on holiday to her father's home during the Christmas holiday that same year, her father, Lord Althorp, refused to let his daughter return to London. Shortly after, he won custody of Diana with the support of his former mother-in-law, Lady Fermoy. In 1976, Diana's father married Rain, Countess of Dartmouth. Their step-family relationship wasn't typical. Diana didn't get along with her stepmother and often called her a bully, even pushing her downstairs once. She described her childhood as very unhappy and unstable. After her father inherited the Earl Spencer title in 1975, she became Lady Diana. The family moved from Park House to Althorp, their estate in Northamptonshire. For schooling, Diana was initially homeschooled by her governess, Gertrude Allen. Later, she attended Sillifurled Private School in King's Lynn, Norfolk, beginning her formal education there. This upbringing shaped Diana's early years, marked by family tensions and transitions. Her strained relationship with her stepmother and the move to Althorp were significant events that influenced her upbringing and perspective on life. When she was 9, she moved to Riddlesworth Hall School, an all-girls boarding school near Thetford. Later on, in 1973, she joined her sisters at West Heath Girls' School in Sevenoaks, Kent. But her academics largely suffered because of her bad performance in school, which some say is probably a result of her strained childhood and her parents' divorce and remarriage, which she largely witnessed. She even failed her O-levels twice. In spite of this, Diana stood out in terms of community service, and this outstanding spirit was recognized with an award from her school, West Heath. What she lacked in academics, she made up for in community engagement. She left West Heath when she was 16, and up until that point, her brother Charles says she was a very shy young lady. She also had great skills, including her excellent musical ability as a skilled pianist.
It's a well-known story told in an unexpected way, set to music on a Broadway stage.
I choose a fresh new start.
Diana the musical is framed around the Princess of Wales' relationship with Prince Charles.
She was an excellent swimmer and diver, and she also studied ballet and tap dance. It was only academics that was not her forte. Between 1979 and 1981, Diana lived at Coleherne Court in Chelsea, London. In 1978, she started a mini-career in line with her passion for children, working as a nanny for Philippa and Jeremy Whittaker in Hampshire. She attended a finishing school in Rougemont, Switzerland for one term, but left after Easter 1978. Back in London, she shared her mother's flat with two friends from school. In London, Diana took an advanced cooking course and worked various low-paying jobs. She was a dance instructor for youth until a skiing accident caused her to miss 3 months of work. Then, she worked as a playgroup preschool assistant, did cleaning for her sister Sarah, and acted as a hostess at parties. She also babysat for the Robertsons, an American family in London, and worked as a nursery teacher's assistant at the Young England School in Pimlico. In July 1979, her mother bought her a flat at Coleherne Court as an 18th birthday present. She lived there with 3 flatmates until February 25, 1981. It's amazing how she got involved with Prince Charles after such an eventful life. Royal marriage, sons' births, and lingering controversies. Diana and Prince Charles met in 1977 in unusual circumstances.
The love story between Prince Charles and Lady Diana is particularly steeped in royal history, around which many rumors have surfaced up to this day.
As Charles was dating her sister Sarah, none of them could have imagined their future together. Charles thought she was jolly, and after his relationship with Sarah ended in 1978, they stayed friends. Diana attended Charles's 30th birthday party in Buckingham Palace in November 1978, and in January 1979, she met Charles again at a weekend shooting party at Sandringham as a guest of Queen Elizabeth II. Later in the summer of 1980, Diana and Prince Charles met again at a house party hosted by her friend Philip de Pass in New Grove. After observing her shy nature and wise way of speaking, Charles considered her a potential girlfriend, despite their 13-year age gap. While sitting on a bale of hay at a post-polo barbecue, Diana sympathized with Charles over the loss of his great-uncle, Lord Mountbatten. Her comforting words struck a nerve, and he decided to pursue a relationship with her.
It's always easy to be smart in hindsight, but when you look at this couple's soap opera of body language throughout their marriage and before their marriage.
Did her words make him fall in love? Don't miss the next scene where things get even more interesting. After this, Prince was keen to spend more time with Diana, and he invited her to Balmoral to join him and a group of friends there for a summer holiday. This delighted Diana in no small measure, as she was beginning to adore Charles. After meeting about 13 times, Prince Charles proposed to Diana. He was said to be largely influenced by his father, Prince Philip, who TD Bim in a memo to stop playing the field and get married. His father had said, "You either marry this girl or let her go." Being confused as ever, he took this to mean that his father wanted her to marry Diana, and he proposed to her on February 3, 1981, after a few months of dating at Windsor Castle. Diana was so surprised that she first thought it a joke, but it was real. Prince Charles was damn serious. The formal engagement press call was on February 24, 1981, when after Beijing asked by reporters if they are in love, Diana had replied with certainty while Charles had said, "Whatever in love means." In March 1981, Charles flew to Australia and New Zealand for 5 weeks, leaving his newly betrothed behind. She's spotted crying at Heathrow Airport upon his departure, not because she is sad, but because before he left, he had taken a phone call with Camilla Parker Bowles, his ex. Notwithstanding all these, they got married on July 39, 1981 at St. Paul's Cathedral, with 2,650 guests, and a television audience of around 750 million people watching. Charles was wary of going through with the marriage, but he didn't want to let the royal family down. It would look as though Prince Charles was more eager to find a qualified bride than to actually find a love match. Although he was struck by some of her qualities, it wasn't necessarily love, considering that he was still very much in sync with his ex-girlfriend Camilla, a major problem that would later cause much problems in the marriage. Some believe that Prince Charles married Diana because he needed someone who would fit into the royals' family requirement of a prince, and also to produce his own heirs to the royal throne. Princess Diana's problems began right on her wedding day, because the royal family is a subject of intense media attention. It comes with the status, and anyone who is getting into the royal family must be ready to face the odds. Media attention had always been on Prince Charles ever since he started dating. Every of his love interests have been a subject of scrutiny by the press on whether or not they were fit for the royal throne. Diana was not an exception. When on their wedding day, she broke tradition by omitting the word obey from her vows, and it generated a lot of attention and criticism from the media all at once, launching her first hand into one of the many trials of the royal family. After the couple's fairy tale wedding, Diana felt overwhelmed by her royal duties and the intense media coverage of nearly every aspect of her life. The many duties and the lack of affection from the prince meant that they spent little time together, and the princess was not having it easy. Due to this, in January 1982, 12 weeks into her pregnancy with William, Diana deliberately threw herself down the stairs at the Sandringham House royal residence in Norfolk because she had eating disorder, bulimia, and was feeling so despondent and inadequate in her marriage to Charles. But the baby was unharmed. There was a ray of hope after the birth of their first son, William, on June 21, 1982, at St. Mary's Hospital in London, and Prince Charles, having attended the broth, described the experience as astonishing. The birth of their first son deepened the relationship between Diana and the prince a little. Diana experienced postpartum depression after her pregnancy with William and found the intense media attention surrounding her pregnancy difficult to bear. In 1983, when William was just 9 months old, Diana couldn't bear to leave him behind for a 6-week tour of Australia and New Zealand. She broke royal tradition by taking him along, sparking a mixed reaction from the press, from harsh criticism to applause from parts of the public. Then, on September 15, 1984, Princess Diana gave birth to Prince Harry, with Charles by her side. Interestingly, 6 weeks before Harry's birth, Charles had thought Diana was expecting a girl. When Harry, a boy, arrived instead, Diana kept it a surprise from Charles, perhaps enjoying the closeness it brought them. But Charles's disappointment over Harry's gender and his hair color strained their marriage further. Diana felt resentful, beginning a journey of secrecy and revenge. This bitterness lingered, and years later Prince William began leaking royal secrets, drawing widespread media attention. It begs the question, why did Charles break the royal rule of secrecy, and why did both sons turn away from their father? Stay tuned. The most exciting part is just around the corner. Prince William's unveiled King Charles's secrets. In the recent royal biography Endgame, written by the royal analyst Omid Scobie, secrets and explosive claims revealed in the book about King Charles, marriage to Diana, and even under his rule were attributed to have been leaked by Prince William's. Interestingly, some claim that it is due to his overambition to become king one day that he broke the sacred code of the royal family, keeping the mouth sealed and keeping secrets. The secrets released by him corroborated the many suspicions of there being a foul play surrounding the death of Princess Diana, while also adding fresh perspectives to the long-forgotten life of Princess Diana. The news was that he leaked private information about both Harry, his brother, and King Charles. Princess Diana's death had been subject to one conspiracy theory or the other, and the most apparent one was that the driver was intoxicated. But more than this, the princess's suspicion of the royal family always plotting against her during her lifetime did not help matters. During her frustrating times with the prince, she believed at some point that Charles wanted her out of the way in order to marry his true love, Camilla. So, many implied that her death might not be a natural accident after all. One major open secret of Prince Charles was his affair with Camilla Parker Bowlers, both before and after the marriage with Princess Diana. On finding out, Camilla was a bone in Camilla's throat, coupled with the loneliness, extreme media attention, and the mental health issues that Diana faced after the marriage. On the Monday before her wedding, she had discovered a beautiful bracelet her future husband intended to give to Camilla. Diana considered calling off the wedding after discovering the bracelet, which confirmed her worst suspicions about Charles's relationship with Camilla. But after lunch with her older sisters, she was persuaded otherwise, telling her that it was too late to chicken out. Tremendously unhappy in their marriage by 1986, both Charles and Diana had extramarital affairs. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Charles maintained constant communication with Camilla, who was also unhappily married to a promiscuous husband. Their affair reignited despite her troubled marriage, a fact Prince Charles admitted to his biographer Jonathan Dimbleby in 1994.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage.
The villain Prince Harry is referring to is Camilla, King Charles's wife and now Queen Consort.
Meanwhile, rumors swirled that Diana had an affair with Army Captain James Hewitt, possibly in response to her own marital unhappiness. Between 1987 and 1992, their troubled marriage garnered intense media scrutiny. Diana's absence from Charles's family summer trip in 1987 sparked headlines about a royal rift. Public appearances often revealed their distant and unhappy demeanor, further fueling speculation about their relationship. The media closely followed their every move, analyzing their interactions and adding to the public's fascination with their marital struggles. What do you think about the suspicions surrounding Ashton Kutcher? Let us know your opinions in the comment section below. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Click on the next video displayed on your screen and you will enjoy it.